What's that?
All right, let's call meeting to order. Approval of last month's minutes.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll begin with the matters by the public. Lady Di.
Oh, thank you. On the agenda, it states that I'm gonna talk about the Pierce transit vehicles. I had planned to do that. However, another issue overshadowed that, so I'll talk about that at another time. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am blessed to return home after a 192-day hospitalization and continue advocacy for the consumers of public transportation. Specifically, my concerns today are about the lack of customer service to provide reasonable accommodation. I will relate several scenarios which I and other passengers are experienced with Pierce Transit. Number one, the rudeness of the call takers. Number two, the inability of call takers to correctly schedule requests for service. For example, booking rides as drops instead of pickups. Number three, failure to notify drivers in a timely manner of previous canceled rides. This would be causes inefficiency and a loss of valuable time and money. Number four, inadequate training as far as sensitivity, compassion, and reasonable accommodation for a diverse population of passengers. And number five, which I just experienced before I came here, was inadequate staffing at peak times. I was on hold for 40 minutes, and I probably would still be on hold to request a ride, except that the driver came to pick me up and I had to hang up. That was just this afternoon, and that is not an isolated incident. My questions are, what is the maintenance schedule for vehicles? Are documented mechanical issues addressed in a timely manner? Were pattern transit drivers given the opportunity to provide input before the purchase of the new transport buses? I know you can't address this without investigation, but I would respectfully request answers to the questions that I posed and the solutions across the issues that I raised. Thank you for allowing me to address the Rockford Mass Transit Board.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you so much. And Diana, following this, Ron Pretty, will follow up on some of these items according to time to discuss them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Which one, Ron? The one with the hat? Oh, no, this is.
Right there beside you.
You just want to give me on.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lady Di.
Good to see you again, Ms. Walker.
Thank you.
Okay, just real quickly, I'm gonna go through, some updates to the board. You saw in the news, widespread impact of the Microsoft CrowdStrike global cyber incident. We were not untouched by that. We had a couple issues here, that we had to deal with, particularly with our paratransit software system, and our Clever system, the customer facing portion of that. Both cloud-based, both were impacted. We had an outage on Friday that lasted from the beginning of the service day until roughly noon. On both of those, our paratransit service, it impacted our ability to schedule and dispatch rides. So we had widespread cancellations to try to manage through that until the information became available. We continue to provide critical medical and work-related trips. And those were the ones that were mainly subscription-based that we have in the system that are ongoing every day. With some other ones that we didn't have access to and didn't have the information to be able to dispatch those out. Those had to be canceled for a portion of the Friday period. The system came back online Friday afternoon, stabilized, and we were able to continue the normal service from there. We had a lingering impact that just got resolved this afternoon where we couldn't push information out to the tablets in the fields and schedule of individual operators on the vehicles. They wouldn't transmit out, and they finally came through with a fix to that was all related to that original cybersecurity issue. As I mentioned, the bus time issue on Clever, customers couldn't receive real-time information, for next stop arrivals of buses. But that resolved itself after then. So, a lot of information out there about, airlines industry and some of the business areas. And some other public transit entities. FTA had reached out to us and many others to find out what the impacts were and recorded those that I shared with you to them. We also had a minor issue associated with our payroll system as well as cloud-based software, but that came back on like Friday afternoon. So those are the impacts, unfortunately, and you see those types of things. It filters all the way down to all segments of businesses, including public transportation. So
Yeah, because I was a victim of New Jersey's transit. That affected the train, and then when I got to the airport, I got stuck for a couple of days.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
I got stuck for a couple
Did
of
they
days.
accommodate you guys with like a hotel or anything, or?
No. They send you a little voucher.
Oh,
Little
man.
$15.
significant impact. Obviously.
Dang, that's exactly.
So just wanted to provide you a brief update on how we. In our continuing effort to recognize our employees who have been with us and continue to provide tremendous customer service to our community, I submit this as the following list of individuals who are celebrating an anniversary this month. We missed last month in recognition of outgoing board Vice Chair Steve Ernst, but we've got this as list. So hold on, it's a huge list this month. So, yeah, represents a lot of hires that we've done in June and July over the last number of years. So, Pam Francis, operator 35 years, Miranda Turner, operator 26 years, Ali Anasaski, operator 25 years, Jim Fagan, operator 24 years, Eric Rashan, supervisor 22 years, Daryl Mitchell, operator 19 years, Ben Wickland, mechanic 19 years, Patrick Brown, mechanic 18 years, Gloria DeVlieger, operator 17 years, Jody Williams, operator 15 years, Patricia James, operator 13 years, Vince McLean, dispatch supervisor 13 years, Adam Lakey, maintenance technician 13 years, Aaron Jenkins.
Hey.
13 years.
Yeah.
Bill McGuire, operator 12 years, Gary Blitch, operator 12 years, Jeff Gallagher, operator 12 years, Mark Freeman, operator 11 years, Marcus Winfield, operator 11 years, Marty Mayer, operator 10 years, Fantasy Harry's, operator 10 years, Dave McLean, maintenance foreman 10 years, Sonia Freeman, operator 10 years, Adam Williams, dispatch supervisor 9 years, Jacqueline Bonner, operator 8 years, Jason Martindale, operator 8 years. Keep going. Ed Zellner, building maintenance technician 5 years, Victoria Jenkins, operator 5 years, Danny Salgado, operator 3 years, Drex McKelvin, safety manager 3 years, Jill Breckler, dispatch supervisor 3 years, Reggie Shelton, bus custodian 2 years, Curtis Jackson, bus custodian 2 years, Kevin Bauer, operator 2 years, Ramada Cochran, operator 2 years, Brandon Demas, operator 2 years, Ben Patton, dispatch supervisor 2 years, Eric Martin, operator 1 year, John Hollingsworth, operator 1 year, George Orth, maintenance manager 1 year, Carlos Quiznada, mechanic 1 year, Ethan Jacobson, mechanics helper 1 year, and Lorette Brown, paratransit assistant 1 year, Ebony Brown, operator 1 year, Rodney Rogers, operator 1 year, and Marie Gallagher, operator 1 year. So with that, we certainly appreciate all of those operators, mechanics, and administrative assistant personnel for their continued dedication to the authority. Sorry. It's only 47 people, about a quarter of the employees of the district are June, July. So,
Well deserved, congratulations.
so with that, we will get on to the main part of the agenda. Finance.
13.
Yeah. Finance payment of bills, in your packet this month, we're Williams McCarthy Services rendered through June, and, just that one. Any questions on that? Okay, no question on that. We'll move on to then the approval of accounts payable invoices. So for the month of July, the total was $716,787.84.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then we'll move on to the approval of the unaudited financial statements for May of 2024. Submitted in your package, you see there operating revenues up so far year to date of 9.25, expenses down for the year by about a percentage. So we're still, you know, in the to the good. Any questions?
That's a good statement. I'll move that we approve the unaudited financial statements for May 2024.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, item C then, approval of increased monthly pension funding. Do we have an item on that one?
Yeah, but there's a note in there, says that, we just need to, move the monthly funding from 140,000 to 155,000 a month.
So we have a motion to increase the pension funding to that amount.
I'll move that we increase the monthly pension funding from 140,000 to 155,000.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Items D then, the pension portfolio review through June and July of 2014 and pension investment statement ending June 30th of 2024. As noted in there, year to date, still doing well, up 5.8 and annual 12.2. Any questions on that? Okay, great. Moving on then to operations, the fixed route ridership report through June. Obviously, the positive trend continues. While June was down 1.3%, it should be noted that there were 20 weekdays this year versus 22 last year. So had there been the same number of weekdays, we would have been up compared to June of last year. With that, then we end the fiscal year up 27.9% compared to the prior fiscal year. And that's about 75% of the 2019 total fiscal year 2019. Any questions on that information?
Yeah, revenue looks good.
Okay. So now we'll move on to demand response reports for June. Ended the month up 25% compared to the prior year, June. Fiscal year, we ended 15.9% above the previous year. As you noted, we've had sustained increases since February, which then picked up ridership towards the end of the month. Also should note that paratransit ridership ended the year up 15.6% versus last year. So paratransit ridership represents about 78% of the overall demand response ridership in that report. So continue positive trends there. Second highest ridership next to 2019 total. So we're getting much closer back to those 2019 totals for paratransit and demand response overall, including SMT. All right. Any questions on that information? All right, we'll move on to then the vehicle maintenance or vehicle and facility maintenance reports that were included in your packet. We've got the start with the vehicle report. Are there any questions on that information this month? Fixed route and demand response reports.
No.
No. Okay, seeing none there, we'll move on to then the maintenance facilities report. As outlined in here, I think we reported last month, the charging infrastructure, we were utilizing that. We had one charger that was down that's been resolved. So we've had all chargers up online and charging out of the facility now here with the full fleet, the 6 buses, that's going well. Fixed route buses, last month we anticipated being out to inspect it at Gillig in August. The order that we were waiting on for fuel pumps arrives that moved up that. And so George and Dan are currently out there finishing up vehicle inspections this week and signing off on a punch list items, and hopefully we'll proceed with delivery of those. So those hybrid vehicles will be arriving here first of August. So by the time we have our next board meeting, all those vehicles should be on site. So good news on that. The telephone system replacement, that RFP development continues, making progress on that. A breakdown of the schedule there. The paratransit software replacement project continues. currently the operational review of our current system is completed, and based on that, then the design of the new system is underway. So we're booked to walk through that effort, and hopefully as we get into next month, we'll have another update on where we're at in the project there, where we're still kind of targeting crossover in September from the old system to the new system. That's kind of our baseline scheduling dispatch system. So training efforts will begin in August, and then we'll move over to that other system in September if everything proceeds. So, the last note from Dan's report is the shelter installs. City of Rockford's been coordinating with us on various sites in the community for installation of concrete bus pads to install shelters, going back to our shelter award that we had of 6 shelters that we're supposed to have delivered in August, September. Upon their arrival, we'll be installing those at a couple of these stops here where they're putting in pads, as well as a couple of stops that are already done on North Main from the old North Main project. So good news there, and that whole effort continues. They'll continue, the city is continuing efforts on design for updates at several of our other locations that we previously submitted to them. As far as this year, they'll get these 3 done for us. All right, any questions on any of that information?
Go back up to the facility expansion.
Yes.
So in terms of high interest, do we know how many have requested proposal, or you could give us an update on how many have requested, and then I know we can't determine who will actually bid, but just hopefully hoping to get some good responses there. And then
Yeah.
the second piece is we're still on target for the 23rd.
Yeah, as we even update here on the expansion update here. Yeah, those great questions. Paul, the bid packet number
I
roughly.
do not know how many that they got. No, I know it's, I'd say at least half a dozen.
Yeah, because
That
it's
would-
going through directly to
Larson
Larson
Darby.
Darby.
Larson Darby send those
So,
out. We don't
mhm.
send those out.
That's the last update. That was
Right.
approximately 6. So that's good news.
Mhm.
As far as the bid opening, with the last addendum, unfortunately, due to the weather event that came through the area, last week, Larson Darby lost power in that section of South Harrison lost power for several days.
Mhm.
So the bid addendum wasn't issued until Thursday, they need 7 days between that, so we had to extend out the due date till the 25th. So just a couple more days, but end of this week, the 25th, Thursday afternoon will be the bid opening at Larson Darby.
And the bid opening will actually be at Larson and Darby. So if you were going to attend, it's out there.
All right. So, any other questions? This morning? Done? Okay. We will move on to the next item, HR report, the board packet pre-review data, positive trends continued. June claims were down 31% compared to last June, and fiscal year date ended down 14.5% in terms of expenses. So good news there with the final month of that. Any questions? Yeah. Marketing. Marketing, you have anything this month on marketing for contracts, Berlin? I don't think we do, right? No special requests?
I know, man, it's
Very-
vacation month for people.
Very rare.
Let me ask you a question.
That is true.
How is our social media approach?
As far as which item?
Facebook, anything like that?
Yeah, so when I first, probably for a year now, we've been working with a company, outsourced company that's been keeping up with posts and things of that nature. So if you follow it, yeah, we've got a lot of good interactions. Our biggest thing right now is partnering with other community entities to gain interest and more traction to our page. So because before I took it over, the social media was kind of a little bit more dormant. So we're trying to build that following up. So that's kind of our strategy right now. So yeah, take a look at it. There's some good, cool, different things on there that's gonna bring eyes and attention to it. And we've been working on that for like, the last 6 months or so.
I was calling, I guess I followed the old page. Is that a new page or did you take it the same page?
It's the same page. I've changed, I'll change the names to all of them to make them more consistent.
Okay.
So I'll do it to you so you can take a look at it.
Anything else? All right, we'll go on to grants. We're gonna report this month for grants. Safety and training, nothing this month for safety and training. Other than I will note that the liability renewal, the package of those will come to the board for the September meeting. So currently staff's working with the insurers on a broker on that to take it out to market and come back with proposals for that. Lastly, then we have the items for other business. So item A, discussion, take actions needed on potential fall service and fare changes. So including your packet is several pieces of information. We'll start with the memo we put together that outlines several changes that we're looking at implementing for the fall service period starting in September. And I'll walk you through these and just answer or ask questions as we walk through this, anything that comes to mind. So first and foremost, on our 11 East State route, Monday through Saturday daytime, we're looking at making minor route changes to serve, and step one, or take one step back here. All of these changes that we're suggesting here were based on suggestions from the community, feedback we received, requests that were made, either through our customers themselves, employers, site developers, public officials, through feedback from their constituents. This is kind of a compilation of all of these requests that we've received over the past year or so. And then some of these requests go back to and marry up with some of the recommendations that came out of the comprehensive mobility study that we conducted several years ago that the board adopted and made those recommendations. So that's where this starts out. All right, so let me state, we're looking at serving Rockford University campus in both directions, inbound and outbound, weekday daytime, as well as serving the Hard Rock Casino at the end of the route. So we worked with the site developer out for Hard Rock, identified a couple stops out there where they've actually placed shelters as part of that for us to service. So that would start in concert with this. And then we'd look at doing some minor schedule changes for timing wise to accommodate serving those areas on the east side. Secondly, then we have 14th 7th Street, Monday through Saturday time. We look at making a minor route change, then requested into the 11th Street Plaza area to serve Schnucks closer. There's been some concerns about the amount of distance that customers have to carry groceries to the parking lot and the stop condition on 11th Street. This gets the 7th Street bus into a stop that's directly in front of Schnucks, so individuals have better access to that particular route. So looking at doing that one, that was an automatic request. The 16 City Loop North daytime service Monday through Saturday. Just a very minor route change. With the route change helps facilitate a transfer and gets us better access to all of those new developments in the frontage area by Farm and Fleet. And currently the 16 North goes through there and goes eastbound through there, and there's no place for customers to get off. So by taking it to the frontage road there, we can provide access to our customers to those sites. There's actually some sidewalk in that area that's been placed as part of the development. So it gives us better access there and provides us an opportunity then to transfer to the 18 Bell School, and allows customers to have access to the cancer center, which right now that transfer doesn't really work well, just based on how those two routes line up. So that takes us to the next item, which is the 18 Bell School route, looking at several changes with that, one of which is that north end loop currently operates counterclockwise. We would change that to operate counterclockwise and then have the same route coverage there on that frontage road that the 16 does. So we can help facilitate a transfer at one of those locations there. So then we can get customers down to the cancer center. The other item that we would look at doing as part of that is to provide access to Rock Valley College on that trip. So currently that circles up on McFarland, the Riverside, the Cancer Center, and then back down McFarland Bell School Road. Currently, we don't have access to Rock Valley College, so part of that trip would now divert over to the south stop at Rock Valley. And this would allow us to facilitate connections out of the East Side Transfer Center to routes like the East State Route or the Cherry Valley Route to get to Rock Valley. Also would help us make connections to the Belvedere service, Boone County Council of Aging, which is facilitating transfers between our service there. Now individuals can have a one-seat ride from Rock Valley to the east, well, a one-seat ride from Rock Valley to the East Side Transfer Center, and then make a transfer to the Belvedere Boone County service, which before they weren't able to do. So that should help better connections between the Rock Valley campus in Belvedere and the Rock Valley campus, main campus. Next on the list is the Cherryvale route, Monday through Saturday daytime. We're proposing a route extension on this particular route, which in your handouts there, we included in a map. This is something that goes back to the route study that was suggested. What this would do is follow the same route from Eastside Transfer Center and also serve Hard Rock as part of that. I should note that as well. On Bell School, we'd also serve Hard Rock Casino on that Bell School route as part of our changes. And on Bell School, we would actually also serve the AMC Theater and the Rockford NIU campus, which currently we don't really serve weekday daytime. So that helps a couple extra connections. So Bell School really is just jumping back, a couple add-ons is we'll add on Rock Valley College, we'll add on the theater, and we'll add on NIU Rockford and Hard Rock Casino as part of these little deviations on that main route. So all areas that it currently doesn't serve helps with better connections and transfers and so forth. So then on this Cherryvale route, we're looking at making an extension of that route. So it would run from East Side Transfer Center, serve Hard Rock, go to Cherryvale, and then from Cherryvale, it would continue via Charles, back to Mulford, and then all the way down Harrison to 11th Street, and then down to the airport. And at the airport, it would serve the main airport road, serving the main terminal, UPS, Amazon, and then continue to the AAR and Rock Valley Aviation Center. Had a number of requests about getting access down to the Rock Valley Aviation Center and AAR. And by doing this extension, we open up the entire south end of Rockford for a route that provides better access, not only for residents, customers in South Rockford to the east side of Rockford, the shopping area, and to the casino and the East Side Transfer Center, but also facilitates getting access down to the airport. So, this should really kind of help us fill that last segment down there that we didn't have access to, and that's AAR and Rock Valley. So transfers on that route can be made with South Main in the UPS Amazon area, with Kishwaukee 7th Street and that Kmart Sandy Hollow area, which I should note, we had an outreach from the site developer for that Kmart site, and they update us with the fact that Northern Illinois Food Bank is going into that facility here later this year. As well as some other development going on there, but this route then provides access to that as well, and then all the way across. So I think, checks a lot of boxes in terms of better access and allowing transfers and so forth to the south end of Rockford and connecting finally East Side Transfer Center to the airport directly across C5. So that's more substantial route change that we're looking at, more extension of an existing route. The only thing I know that this route would serve the Harrison area in the post office and that industrial park area as well. And we're doing that because we're also looking at a separate route change for the 20 Alpine. So the Alpine, as you may know, currently goes south on Alpine from east side, from Linn-Martin State. Rockford Career College meets transfers there and then continues south on Alpine all the way down to Jefferson. And on its way back north, it deviates into the South Industrial Park and the Sandy Hollow Alpine area. And then comes back and continues north of Alpine, deviates over to Harrison, and serves that industrial park and then comes back out and then heads north. So in Alpine, we're cutting off the Harrison leg, not very much ridership there, but we want to replace the access that we're taking away on Alpine and putting Harrison there, this Cherryville Harrison route, so that, customers have access, and actually now they have better access. So in that corridor, they can get back and forth to food sources and shopping, either on the east side, the shopping area, or your Schnucks, Aldi's and so forth that are all on Harrison and 11th Street. So with that on Alpine, by taking off the Harrison thing, we're able to provide a deviation in access on the Linden Road corridor. As you know, Linden has new PCI development going in there. And we have those large apartment complexes at Great Oaks and Beacon Hill. So Alpine will now serve Linden under this proposal, or would serve those areas under this proposal, and provide access to those areas that we don't have access to now. The developer that was working with PCI on their site had talked to us early on with the city about seeing how we can provide access there. So they looked at making some accommodations there for pedestrian crossings and access for a stop there. So that checks that box, that and has been a long ongoing request from residents in that area to have better access. So that's the 20 Alpine. Moving along, then that finishes up the daytime service changes that we're proposing in this. Moving on to the evening, the 32 East State Monday through Friday would have the same route deviation into Rockford College, Rockford University. But in addition to that, right now, the East State on weekdays doesn't go all the way to the East Side Transfer Center. What we're looking at doing here is extending the route to the East Side Transfer Center so we can provide access to Hard Rock. But with that, it requires us to add an additional bus to the schedule to do that. So with that, what we'll essentially do is the 42 that runs on Sundays goes to the East Side Transfer Center and also serves Cherry Valley, Cherryville Mall. So we're basically going to do on weeknights, what we do on Sundays, and extend that route to Cherryville and East Side Transfer Center. So by doing that, what we're able to do then is, again, serve Rockford University in both directions, serve Hard Rock in both directions, but we'll also be, because we'll have a little bit extra time with adjusting the schedule a little bit, we'll be able to extend it out and serve AMC Theater as well. So that's also been a plus that we've had about having theater access on evenings, which we haven't done before. So we'll be able to facilitate all of that with these little small changes to the East State route. Moving on, the 35 Kishwaukee 7th Street route, evenings, we're looking at doing the same little route deviation into the Schnucks facility on 11th Street to provide that better access for those customers, for their shopping there for food. After that, then we're looking at some changes to the 36 Perryville Alpine. So that's also included in the map that we handed out there, just to give you a sense there. So the 36 Alpine is a connector route that connects a lot of different generators on the northeast part of Rockford. So we're looking at making several changes by the East State now going to the East Side Transfer Center in Cherryville. The 36 doesn't need to do that anymore. So what we're able to do with the 36, instead of going to the east side at Hard Rock and Cherryville, is make a slight change there that allow us to get access to Javon Bay Hospital. So up in that area, we take Riverside to McFarland, and from there we head south down to the East State corridor serving Rock Valley College, but we don't get out to the hospital. And there's been a number of requests we've had about having 7-day-a-week daytime, evening access to the hospital facility for our community. And by making this change, we're able to provide that access now that we haven't been providing on the 36. By doing that, there's some trade-offs there, right? So by going to the hospital and not going to East Side and Perryville in place of East State, we actually turn the route at McFarland and rode back down Perryville and head straight down to the East State corridor. This route change allows us to provide access now into that little pocket of I would call heavier shopping that we have in the Lowe's, Home Depot area of Argus and across Argus to Target, all these Schnucks, Malford Village, where we have transfers that we make with East State, the Valleys shopping area there, and then south on Malford, crossing the main entrance there to Forest Plaza there off Malford as well, and south on Malford back to Newburgh. So that route change allows, again, more access to food sources all along that route, still maintains access to the Alpine Riverside, Walmart, Woodman's on McFarland, Meyer on McFarland, and adds these other ones in there. So whether you're shopping there or you're employed there, provides better access, and helps facilitate better transfers for customers in all those areas. So that's the 36th evening that we're proposing. Moving on then to Sunday service, again, back to the 42 East State. We provide access to Rockford University and the casino on Sundays, as well as AMC theaters on Saturday, or on Sundays as well. Some minor schedule changes to facilitate that. The 45 Kishwaukee 7th Street would access the Schnucks, that make that little deviation there on the Schnucks 11th Street. And then what we're looking at doing on Sundays as well is the 36 Perryville Alpine only operates on weekday evenings. So under this proposal, what we're looking at doing is putting that service in on Sundays as well now, so that's consistent evenings and Sundays, and those schedules marry up. And then we've got access to all those areas I just talked about that we weren't providing access to Sundays on now, which is from Rockford Career College north on Alpine up to the Alpine Riverside Walmart, across Riverside and all of the commercial areas on Riverside out to, in this case, Javon Bay. We would also serve Costco in that little area on Sundays, daytime periods. We would do that and trade off on serving RVC on Sundays, since basically that campus is closed Sundays. By not going to RVC, we can get to Costco and serve that little commercial area before heading south all along the McFarland Drive area and then the East State areas we described before. So it is a little bit of an expansion of Sunday service, better coverage, and more opportunity for access to employment and shopping trips for the community. And then finally, the last item on note is that we have had some discussions with Amazon on some better alignment of times for shift workers out to that facility, and as we move forward, we'll continue those discussions, see if we can make some tweaks to schedules to make sure that as they're changing their shift times, that we have services in better alignment with that. So that's service related. So other questions, comments, concerns relative to any of those items?
Yeah, I like the layout. Yeah,
My only comment is it's coming out of the planning work a couple of years ago and seeing this today, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Really good to see it.
So appreciate that. Yeah, that's, I mean, and most of the stuff is all generated on feedback and some of the work that we've done, checks a lot of the boxes in terms of better access to both food sources and employment opportunities. And that's what drives a lot of our trip making. So with that, I'll move on to fare changes that we're looking at implementing. As you know, we had a lot of discussion around our student fare program and how that's going and opportunities around that. And from that, just looking at ridership data and so forth, we're looking at making some tweaks to how we kind of offer that and manage that to make it simple and easier for the community to take advantage of that. I gave a spreadsheet handout in your packet for you to look at just for reference. When we started that program back in calendar 2019, that total population of children and students, K through 18, was generating about 23,000 rides a year. Today, as we wrap up fiscal year 2024, we had 36,816 rides. So we've seen over a 250% increase in the number of student-child rides on our system over that period of time, which is a significant increase compared to all of our other ridership groups. Likewise, we didn't have a veteran ridership We implemented free rides for veterans as part of that program. We ended the year with over 35,700 veteran free rides as well. Now, veteran free rides are coming out of a population of full fares, qualified disabled half fares, or even benefit access or senior free rides. So understanding what the prior ridership was out of that program, we don't really know. But just for reference, as we look at that and how we ended the year, of that 36,000 rides provided for student child rides, we still had a sizable portion of those rides that are fare paying passengers, right, in every age group. So as we look at that, we're looking at, well, why and how do we address that to try to lower that number, right, so that people understand the program and can take advantage of the program. So that's what drove us towards the fare proposal, which what we're looking at doing is, as you know, RPS and most of the schools only issue IDs to freshmen through senior age kids, right? So a freshman is age 14 to 15, right? The other kids in the system, there's no ID, right? They're not issued an ID through school. So one of the problems we have is getting the folks who want to take advantage of the program, getting IDs into the hands of students and children in that K through 8 range. Knowing that that's a barrier in itself, we're doing is just proposing to eliminate having an ID in that age group, right? So K through 8 or 5 through 14, which is when an 8th grader is turning, there's the age that an 8th grader is turning to in the year of school, is just moving that category to a free ride to make it just easier. And so what our fare proposal is simply we would eliminate the entire child half fare category and ridership, the 75 cents, it would go away. In its place, children 14 and under would ride free, period. No ID requested, no need for an ID, knowing that the barrier to having an ID is one of the challenges that we've seen in this program. What we would do then for those youth that are 15 and above is change the age of the fare associated with an adult fare to 15. So 15 and above would require a fare. For students who are the 9 through 12, students who are of that age just simply need to show their student high school ID when they board the bus to ride for free. We know they're being issued because they're required to have those to access their system. So it allows us age segment that we can manage and differentiate between the younger kids, and just eliminates a whole fare structure for us that has associated tickets with and everything else that goes with that. And going back to before we had the student free ride program, I'll take you back several years. We used to do children 5 and under, or children under 5 were free with accompanied by an adult. Children 5 through 11 could ride for half fare, right? They weren't free, they didn't have the option, but they could ride for half fare. Children 12 and older were required to have an ID to verify that they were in school to ride for half fare, right? So basically that was your 6 through 12 had to have an ID to verify that they could ride for half fare, right? So when we adopted this program, we said, well, everybody who's K through 12 needs an ID to verify for half fare. And that's the little change we have. So what we're looking at doing is, to some degree, I know it sounds a little confusing, but change the adult fare to 15 and above. Anybody less than 15 is just free moving forward. Under 5 still needs to be accompanied by an adult, but that would allow us to manage that age group and clean that whole area up, of which is probably impacting who's still riding and paying a fare. High school students, just as they're doing now, they can ride for free if they had an ID. They got an ID, which they're issued by the school to do so. The ID and is good from the date when the school issues it through the end of the summer of that year. So, you know, you can ride year round if you're a high school student. Does that make some sense to you guys? Any questions on that?
Seems very
Yeah,
good.
I think feedback is that it cleans it up a little bit, it makes it easier to manage and easier to understand. The last thing as part of this, that we'd also propose to eliminate is the Cherryville Zone Fair, which is adopted years and years ago when we extended service to Cherryvale as a means to recoup some of the additional expenses associated with operating a route extension there. That was part of our, and going all the way back to our mobility planning efforts. One of the goals or strategies was to look for a way to eliminate that by adopting or implementing a route that basically crosses that area and just goes through that area. It's no different than any other area that we have that's part of the county or not part of a jurisdiction that we go through now. But it's not like destination based. It's just we're passing through, and we don't treat that customer any different than any other customer, and makes it simpler and easier. That has the benefit of also for our paratransit customers. That's something that is part of their fare structure that would be eliminated as well. So zone fare goes away, which simplifies things. So really what these pros that we're changing is, you know, making it simpler, easier to manage. More individuals are fundamentally free under the proposal. It's cleaner for us to market around and have discussions with schools about and how they extend the information out, and we can navigate the process a little bit easier that way. So with that, any other questions?
Well, the question is just clarification here. So you're asking to proceed with conducting a public hearing with a minimum 2-week notice?
Yeah.
As opposed to a 30-day.
Yeah, as part of our Title VI program, our public participation program, when we have a major service change, and that's a sizable percentage of changes relative to schedules and route coverage and so forth, it would mandate a 30-day notice. But for this, these are really, all intents and purposes, minor changes, just diversions that we're looking at doing, schedule tweaks and so forth. Therefore, we're requesting a waiver of that and just doing a 2-week notice and conducting 2 hearings, one downtown, one at the East Side Transfer Center, which is closer in proximity to where some of these changes that we're talking about change rise are being implemented, and moving forward with that. Following the public hearing, we would bring this back to the board for formal approval and share with you any feedback that we received and how we're going to be addressing any of the feedback from the public hearing.
I would just request that our community partners like Rock Valley College, you know, as we make those adjustments on Sunday, even though the campus is closed, but just in case, right, students are notified, people just for awareness that they are part of our communications.
Yep, every part of that.
This is great.
So, as mentioned, we'll bring it back next month following, on public hearings, and then look at implementing this, if approved, for the September 1st, board pick that we work developing.
You need us to take action tonight? Or?
Yeah, if you would just make as outlined in the paragraph, you're looking, for, a motion to proceed with the proposed plan and conduct a public hearing and, waive the 30-day notice or a minimum 2-week notice and conducting those hearings.
So move.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Perfect. We have your next board meeting, we're looking at scheduling,
For the special board meetings, but August 12th or 13th was on hold. Aren't we doing the public hearing on the 12th?
12.
Okay, so did you want to try for the 13th?
13th. I think if the board is
Okay.
available.
August 13th, I had you guys put that on hold until we could find out when the bid opening was going to be, and now that's got pushed, so can we still do the
13.
13th at 3:30? Okay,
So,
and then are we canceling the 26th?
so we.
Do it together?
We could do that together, if you guys, I mean, I think it makes sense.
Pretty good.
I would be
Okay.
fine with that. I think the items that we would have between the six would be ready for.
Okay, I'll send out an invite to you guys.
No, we never included on it. because
Tuesday, yep, Tuesday, the 13th at 3:30.
I wanna.
And then finally, we do have executive session.
Yep, we're going to executive session. We'll discuss collective bargaining matters pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C2 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically right.
Second, all in favor?
But join.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Move that we come out of executive session.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Doc, we disconnect.